And it's a pleasure to welcome Georgia head football coach Kirby Smart into SportsCenter tonight. Coach, I know down in your territory this stat is repeated often and often, but around the country, I don't think people realize under your leadership, the Dogs have not lost a regular season game since 2020. That's 41 straight regular season wins. I know the goal is to win the national title, but how do you explain that level of consistency over that period of time?
Some really good players, really good staff, and a lot of fun. In the SEC, you get to play on the road, you get to play in some tough environments, and we've been really fortunate to have great players. A lot of them playing on Sundays, a lot of them on these people, all the fans, fantasy football teams. I'm watching all of them play on Sundays now, but it's been a great ride, and we hope to keep it going.
Tell me about that experience on Sunday. I know you're watching tape, but like millions of others, you're watching the NFL. You put so many guys in the league. What is that feeling like?
It's awesome. We were usually working on the next opponent, but we get a text or a message from somebody saying, "Hey, Lad's done this, or Jordan's done this, or Nakobe's done this. Great, George Pickens has done this." It's fun. You get text messages, you get to catch a clip while you're watching. It might even steal an idea from the NFL team you're watching.
Later this month, you have a very, very difficult schedule, but I think one game so many people are looking forward to. Later this month, you'll be taking the Dogs into the newly minted Nick Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium. Now that you're not competitors, fighting for the same players, fighting for dominance at the top of the sport, how has your relationship changed with Coach Saban?
I don't know that it's changed. I've always had immense respect for Coach Saban, and that hasn't changed. The relationship, I think he's a little looser, more fun. He's able to do more things. He's got more time. I've spoken to him a lot more since he got out than while he was in, because I think he was so busy, just like I was, doing so many things. But he's been a great resource, whether it's financial advice or football advice or trying to help the sport of college football. He's been beneficial to a lot of coaches.
I know Coach Saban was leading the way on so many important issues over his time in college football. They're looking for a new face of the sport. A lot of people said, what about Kirby Smart? What do you think about that?
Well, I think there's a lot of experience Nick's had. I mean, he worked across the country, worked in the NFL for a long time. He worked in other conferences. He had been a head coach for a really long time. So I don't think anybody's going to be filling those shoes anytime soon. I certainly want to be an advocate for college football and for college athletics as a whole, but not the primary spokesperson. I got enough to worry about with Kentucky this week that I'm focused on. Not worried about that.
I want to talk about the Cats here in just a second. But one last thing on that note, being an advocate, you have called the transfer portal, NIL, the use of it now, you called it a forced situation considering the way college football is played today. With all the upheaval in the sport and really no insight, where do you see the sport headed in the future?
I don't exactly know the answer to that. I wish I did. I certainly am concerned about the sport because I want the next generation to have the same benefits that I had. I got to play a great sport and loved every minute of it. These kids that are on our team now, they get a lot of financial benefit, meaning NIL, and I want that to still be there for the next generation. I don't want it to go away or us have to do away with it because of funds or revenue sharing or going dry somewhere. I think it's such a great thing, and so many people love it that we have to protect our sport, but we also have to take care of our players, and there's a balance there.
One of your players, former players, Brock Vandagriff. This, of course, is the big story heading to Saturday as you face Kentucky, former five-star quarterback in your room. What was the conversation like when he came over and you guys discussed him leaving the program?
It was very lighthearted. He understood. He had already told us if Carson was coming back that he, probably was going to go play somewhere else. He was very professional about it. He was very emotional because he loves Georgia and he graduated from Georgia. He won 2 national championships at Georgia. He made Georgia better. He left it better than he found it. But I didn't want it to be difficult for him. When he sat in front of me in my office, I told him I loved him. I told him he had done a tremendous job. He told me he appreciated everything that we had done for him and how much better he was because he had been here, but that he needed to go try to go play. And that was just a mutual respect that we have for each other.
I know you especially are proud of him for that degree because you, of course, graduated from Georgia yourself with a degree. Last couple of things. I'm old enough to remember you playing safety, and I'm old enough to remember, a lot of people don't remember this. I remember you returning kicks your senior year, too. I remember you being a dual threat player. What is it like when a lot of your younger players maybe stumble on YouTube or they heard that you played between the hedges and you get into that conversation with today's current player?
Well, it doesn't usually go well because they have all have all the bad clips too. So there was a lot of good, there was a lot of bad there. So they tend to find the bad before they find the good, and they crack jokes about our shoulder pads and how big they were. And there's not much I can do but laugh at yourself at that point.
No doubt. I think Coach is being a little modest. He was all SEC. I'm old enough. I remember watching it. Last thing for you here. Look, you grew up Bainbridge High. You're a Georgia guy all the way through. This is actually the 25th anniversary of you joining the staff for the first time under Coach Donnan when you were an administrative assistant. You, of course, famously left, came back. You're now the head coach. What does this program in this state mean to you?
It's just been so good to me. The state's been great to me and my family. The program has been great to my wife, our kids. We're Georgia through and through, and I wouldn't be where I am today without this education. And so the best thing I can do is give back to the players on our team, to this community in Athens, to this university that I love so much. So it's certainly a blessing to be the head coach. I have to pinch myself a lot of days that I wake up and realize I get to go be the head coach at the university I actually attended and played. So that's something I'm really proud of.
Coach, best of luck Saturday, and I have a feeling you might be there in your normal spot, Championship Monday this year, January 20th. Thank you, Kirby.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.